It's Tuesday, June 20th, 2023. Please make sure to like this video, share this video, and make sure you subscribe to this channel. I want to start the video out today. First off, I checked earlier today that dog we were talking about yesterday, Bart, the 15-year-old Yorkie that was brutally attacked and kicked and is fighting for his life right now in critical condition. I could not find any updates, but I must thank every one of you. I don't know the dog. I don't know the woman that owns the dog. It just really touched me. But I want to thank all of you. So many comments and prayers for that little dog. It just really is refreshing to know that there are still good people out there, that there are still people who care about little animals, that care about other people, that care about the country. It's so refreshing to know that there are people like you out there. But one thing I want to do is I want to address a comment that I saw earlier today that was directed to me. And please comment down below. What do you think about this comment? The gentleman says this: what about when a dog attacks a person? I've been bitten by a dog. Don't see JB calling it a low-life piece of garbage, but kick a dog and he takes it personally. I don't have this gentleman's name, but to that gentleman who wrote this comment, here's the difference, which apparently you don't understand. The gentleman that kicked the dog looked like he weighed about 180 pounds. The dog was 5 pounds. The dog was not biting him. The dog was minding its own business. You are an evil piece of garbage. And I would say, I would use other words if I didn't want to, but I don't want to offend anybody. There's kids out there, there's families. I want to keep it clean. But there's some other words I'd really like to use for this piece of garbage. You're a human being. You have a brain. You should know better. The dog wasn't being vicious. The dog weighed 5 pounds. The human being weighed 180. The dog had no vindictive intent. The human being did. I'm sorry that you've been bitten by a dog. Sounds like either a bad owner or a bad dog. But you know what? Dogs are killed every day in this country. Okay, we kill a lot of dogs in this country. Many are put to sleep. Many are hit by cars. Many are abused. There's dog fighting. There's horrific things. There's animal testing with the brutality that they do to dogs that dogs don't do to human beings. Okay, that's the difference. So I think you have to be a real evil human being to do something to a 5-pound dog that had no intent of doing anything evil to you or anything bad to you. I think that's just pure evil. And if you can do that to a little 5-pound Yorkie that's 15 years old, what is that person capable of doing to another human being? And by the way, that same piece of garbage hit another human being earlier in the day with a bottle over the head. So, and another thing too is I don't sit here and talk about animals all day. I try to help people. All right, my mission is to help people and animals, but my main mission here is to help people and wake people up so they protect themselves against other evil pieces of garbage, demonic beings like this that are walking the streets, to protect you financially, to protect you spiritually. But again, to this human being, I guess you want me to call a dog a low-life piece of garbage because it bit you. Well, more than likely, you were probably doing something you shouldn't have been doing anyways. Maybe you were breaking into somebody's house. Maybe you were jumping into somebody's backyard. Maybe you were breaking into somebody's car. Who knows what the real situation was? But at the end of the day, humans kill a lot more dogs than dogs killing humans every year. That's for sure. So I just want to clarify that. Getting into the news today, the human being news. And by the way, let's keep saying prayers for little Bart. It's a sad story, but thank you so much for saying those prayers. It makes me feel good that we have such good people out there. The hedge today, negative equity surges. More consumers find themselves in underwater auto loans. Get this, millions of Americans who took out auto loans to purchase overpriced used vehicles during the health crisis are at risk of going underwater. Well, what a shock. What a surprise. TransUnion and J.D. Power published a new report warning in recent quarters that used car loan-to-value ratios at origination have trended in the wrong direction for consumers. Again, what a shock, what a surprise. I wonder why we're seeing 15,000 auto repos a day in the U.S. LTVs, loan to value, in the first quarter averaged 125%, up from 110% for used cars compared to a year ago. 125%. These numbers show the borrower has no equity in their vehicle. Anything above 100%, ladies and gentlemen, means the loan exceeds the value. So now we have used car values beginning to slip, while the cost to insure these vehicles continues to go up. Also, have you looked at your registration lately? Going up. So how does this end? What's going to happen to the banks that made these reckless loans? 125% LTV, and I've seen it as high as 140%, and I'm sure it's even higher in some cases than that. This is dangerous, and this is going to put more pressure on the banking system. And of course, this was probably all chopped up and sold to investors on Wall Street, of course. But we see banks that have made terrible loans in commercial real estate, terrible loans in the auto market, especially with these used vehicles. And how about the FOMO that we saw in housing and banks making loans on properties that were so overpriced? It's all coming back down to reality. Home sales are absolutely plunging off of a cliff. You're going to see home prices do the same at some point. Maybe not right now, maybe not tomorrow or next week. It's coming, ladies and gentlemen, as the pool of qualified buyers shrinks. It's official. Student loan payments will restart in October. Education Department says, the U.S. Department of Education says student loan payments will be due starting in October. Interest on their debt will begin accruing even sooner. The average payment is $350. That's the average payment. Some will be less, some will be much higher. This is going to be a huge adjustment for 42 million Americans who have college tuition debt. This means that that's $350 a month that's not going to be going to the Gap, to Nordstrom's, to Macy's, going out to dinner, going to the bar on Friday night, going to Starbucks. These people now are going to see a huge adjustment in their lifestyle because they're going to have to pay their debts back now. And I'm glad that they're going to, because it's a lot better than you and I, because we didn't sign on the dotted line. We weren't obligated to this. These people need to pay their debts back. And my question to all of you is this: what have they been doing for the last 3 years? Why have they not been getting one of these service sector jobs, one of these jobs in hospitality, and paying this down? Here's another one, CNBC. Average credit card interest rate is a record 20.69%. Think about this. The average credit card interest rate is almost 21% right now. And we have around $1 trillion in credit card debt. We have people living day to day now, not paycheck to paycheck, but credit card to credit card. And to service this debt is nearly 21% on average. And guess what? It's going to go up. We're going to get a rate hike in July. Credit card rates are going to go higher. To borrow money to buy that car, new or used, buy that house, rates are going to continue to go up. It's going to cost more to borrow money, ladies and gentlemen, more to service debt. I don't know how people are doing it. Please comment down below. I know that a lot of people out there, millions of people, are using those credit cards to pay utility bills, put gas in their car, even pay their rent. But to service this debt, it continues. It seems every month it's going up and up and up. When does it come to an end? When do people hit the brick wall and no longer are able to afford to pay their utilities and their debts and their grocery bills? It's going to get ugly, ladies and gentlemen, and this is why I make these videos, to warn all of you to be preparing. Don't be reckless with your paychecks. Try not to live paycheck to paycheck. Live below your means. If you're making 100 grand a year, you should be living like you're making 50. If you're making 50, you need to be living like you're making 25, 30. That's the only way right now you can get ahead and protect yourself. Here's another one from The Hedge today. Hamburger prices near record high as grilling season kicks off. The peak hamburger price was last August. It was $5.45. Today, the average hamburger price per pound is $5.35. Cattle prices are right now at a record high. We have a drought in the Midwest. Feed costs, super high. Sticky inflation. All of this means that we should not expect to see beef prices coming down anytime soon. How many people now can't even afford to have a decent steak? They're going to hamburger. They're going to cheaper meats. They're going to pork. I mean, and if you want good pork, it ain't cheap, ladies and gentlemen. If you want something that's not filled with antibiotics, something that's not filled with drugs, something that's, you know, free range, whether it's chicken, pork, or cattle, I cannot believe the prices of this stuff. Last week, prime steak porterhouse was $40 a pound. $40 a pound. This one from Fox Business, U.S. charitable giving falls in 2022 for only fourth time in 40 years as economic headwinds weigh. And look, here's another headwind. People going back to have to pay their college tuition debt at, on average of $350 a month. This is going to be another headwind, a major headwind for the U.S. economy, because this equates to around $15.8 billion a month, not going into the economy, but actually going back and paying debt. But getting back to this charitable giving article on Fox Business, giving from individuals, foundations, or corporations fell 3.4%. This equates to a drop of 10.5% when adjusted for inflation. That is a big, big number. But let's face it, when corporations are not making as much in profits, when individuals are losing jobs or wages not keeping up with inflation, they're not going to be able to give as much. That's just common sense. This is going to get much worse, ladies and gentlemen. Here's another one from The Hedge. China plans military base in Cuba in response to U.S. support for Taiwan. What do you think about that? This thing is really, really heating up. And as I've reported before, we don't have enough ammunition to be in a world war. We don't even have enough oil now to be in a world war because we continue to deplete our strategic petroleum reserves. We continue to send ammunitions over to Eastern Europe. We are in no condition to be getting into a war with anybody at this point. The Hedge today, Qatar ready to ink new 27-year gas deal with China. This is going to allow China to purchase 4 million metric tons of liquefied natural gas a year. And I can probably guarantee, there's no talk of this in the article, but more than likely, they're not going to be using US dollars in this transaction, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to be using their currencies. This is changing so fast, ladies and gentlemen. So much is happening. And yet, you know, the analysts, the economists, the Dave Ramseys laugh like this cannot happen, that there's going to be no other currency out there other than the US dollar, that these countries are never going to get more powerful than America. It's already happening right now. China is already more powerful militarily and economically than America right now. I'm going to finish with this last article. Maybe this is good news for the economy, but this really stumps me. It's stumping economists. It's stumping strategists. In May, both housing starts and permits exploded higher. Home construction soared 21.7% to 291,000 units, to an annualized 1.63 million annualized rate. Multifamily starts surged even more, rising 28.1% to 624,000 units. Single family units were up 18.5% to 156,000 single family units or homes. I find this really, really hard to believe, but we'll take this information. Please comment down below, but we'll take this information for what it's worth. Who in the world is going to buy all of these homes? And multifamily, I can see that, but even multifamily is getting so expensive. If you want to rent an apartment, at least out here in Southern California, it is extremely, extremely expensive. But this is interesting. When we're hearing so much what's happening, we have a 30-year mortgage rate right now sitting around 7%. I did not check it today, but it's roughly around 7%. More people losing jobs, more inflation out there. Who in the world is going to go out and buy a new home? We have 1.63 million new homes right now under construction. Who is going to buy these homes? I showed you some of the Disneyland property out here the other day. It's going to be around 2,000 homes. And I think to myself, these homes are going to be in the millions of dollars. I think they're going to have smaller units around $600,000, $700,000, $800,000. Who is going to buy all these homes? Please comment down below. But is this a good sign? that we're seeing home construction soaring. But I will say this, back before the 2008 crisis, we saw an explosion of new home building taking place. And as fast as it started, it stopped. So this doesn't really mean much to me, but it does mean that there's going to be a lot more inventory, a lot more incentives, a lot more deals to come, because that inventory that they're telling you that doesn't exist, even though there's 15 million homes sitting vacant in America, that we're going to see more of the aging population retiring and selling homes and downsizing. We're going to see more people losing their jobs, forced to sell. We're going to see more and more people that got into the Airbnb business who cannot rent their homes out, that are going to be forced to sell. There's so many people that are going to be that are going to be sellers here in the next 12 months. It's not even funny, ladies and gentlemen. But on top of that, we have all these new homes under construction. So keep your powder dry, stack cash, use patience. The sales are coming without a doubt. If you believe the economy is booming, then you should be investing in these markets and buying a house. If you believe the economy is heading in the opposite direction, if you think that we're in trouble economically, if you think that these markets are all being propped up right now, if you think that the data that we're getting is all propped up, then maybe you better sit back, keep your powder dry, continue to stack cash, and continue to exercise patience, because there's something out there that just seems extremely off. The data seems very off. What they're telling us seems to be a lie. There's just too many people losing jobs. There's too many vacant buildings. There's too much happening in the commercial real estate realm. And then we look at what's happening with all these bad auto loans. You know where this is going. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. Look, the real estate agents, the people in the mortgage industry, the people that have to kid themselves and fool themselves that everything's going to be okay, they can continue to fool themselves. They're not going to fool me. They're not going to fool you. You know what time it is. You know exactly what's happening. Prepare accordingly, ladies and gentlemen. Be patient. The sales are coming, but also tough times are coming too, and you better be ready for that. It's not about just all about sales. It's not all about buying something at a discount. It's not all about buying real estate. You better be preparing for very difficult, tough times. This is going to be a very, very bumpy ride, ladies and gentlemen. So prepare accordingly. God bless. Thanks for all the support. Thanks for the prayers. God bless all of you.